Close your eyes and imagine nothingness. Not darkness, for darkness requires the absence of light, and light had not yet been created. Not silence, for silence requires the absence of sound, and sound itself awaited its divine moment. Not emptiness, for even empty space was yet to be fashioned by the divine will. There was only Allah, Al-Awwal, the first, existing in absolute, eternal perfection. No throne beneath him yet, no heavens above, no earth below. Just the pure, infinite reality of the Creator, complete and perfect in his solitude. The authenticated hadith in Sahih Bukhari preserves for us the Prophet's words, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah existed when nothing else existed before him, and his throne was upon the water. But in the infinite knowledge of the Almighty, a divine decree had been written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz 50,000 years before anything would come to exist. I shall create. This was not a decision born of need, for Allah is Al-Ghani, free of all needs. This was pure divine will, an expression of his perfect attributes, about to manifest in the realm of creation. Picture, if you can, the moment when Allah's creative will first stirred the fabric of potential existence. The Quran tells us in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30, "Do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were joined together as one united piece? Then we parted them. They were ratak, a single, unified mass, beyond our comprehension. Not matter as we know it, not energy as we understand it, but something far more fundamental, the raw potential of all creation, compressed into a singularity of divine possibility. In this primordial state, time had no meaning, space had no dimension. The very concepts of before and after, here and there, awaited their divine appointment with existence. The angels, those magnificent beings created from light, had already been brought into being, standing in perfect ranks around the Arsh, the mighty throne of Allah, their voices raised in continuous glorification. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illa Allah, wa Allahu Akbar. Then came the moment that would echo through all eternity. Allah, in his infinite wisdom and perfect timing, spoke the divine decree that would bring forth all of creation, as recorded in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 117. When he decrees a matter, he only says to it, be, and it is. Kun, be. Imagine the power contained in that single divine utterance. Not a word spoken with vocal cords or breath, for Allah transcends such physical limitations, but a divine command that carried within it the blueprint of every galaxy, every star, every grain of sand that would ever exist. The classical scholar Ibn Kathir explains in his Tafsir that this divine word encompasses the entirety of Allah's creative power, requiring no time, no process, no intermediary mechanism. At that instant, if we can even call it an instant, for time itself was being born, the unified singularity began to expand and separate. Fatakna huma. We parted them, declares the Quran, describing the most magnificent explosion of divine creativity the universe has ever witnessed. This was not chaos, but perfect order unfolding according to divine wisdom. What followed was a symphony of divine precision orchestrated across 6 magnificent periods, 6 ayyam, each representing a phase of cosmic development that would prepare the stage for the greatest drama of all, the story of prophets and revelation. Surah Fussilat, verses 9 through 12, provides us with glimpses into these cosmic epochs. In the first period, Allah laid the foundation of the earth, stretching it out like a vast carpet and preparing it to receive His countless blessings. The earth trembled and shook as mountains rose like mighty anchors, their peaks piercing the sky, their roots extending deep into the planet's core. And we placed therein firm hills rising from its surface, says the Quran in Surah Fussilat, that it might not quake with them. These were not random geological formations, but precisely positioned stabilizers, each mountain calculated to maintain the Earth's perfect balance. Deep within the Earth's layers, treasures beyond imagination were being stored, veins of gold and silver that would one day adorn the hands of righteous believers, iron that would forge the tools of civilization, and precious stones that would catch the light and reflect the beauty of their Creator. Every mineral, every deposit was placed with divine purpose, awaiting the moment when humanity would discover and utilize these gifts.
In the second period, Allah measured and distributed the earth's sustenance with meticulous precision. Every grain of wheat that would ever sprout from the soil, every drop of rain that would ever nourish the earth, every breath of wind that would ever pollinate the flowers, all were apportioned according to divine wisdom. And He measured therein its sustenance in 4 days, alike for all who ask, records the Quran. Watch in wonder as the landscape transforms before Allah's creative gaze. Valleys carve themselves into perfect channels, preparing to guide future rivers to the sea. Plains spread wide and fertile, ready to become fields of golden grain that would feed countless generations. Forests of mighty trees root themselves deep, their branches reaching skyward in natural prostration, their leaves rustling with what sounds almost like tasbih, glorification of their Creator. Springs of fresh water burst forth from hidden sources, their crystal-clear streams meandering through the landscape, carrying life wherever they flow. The earth drinks deeply, preparing itself for the abundance that is yet to come. Every ecosystem finds its perfect balance: predator and prey, plant and pollinator, mountain and valley, desert and oasis. In the third and fourth periods, Allah turned His creative attention to the 7 heavens above. Layer by layer, these magnificent celestial realms took shape, each with its own purpose, its own beauty, its own appointed function in the cosmic order. The Quran tells us, "Then He turned to the heaven when it was smoke, and said to it and to the earth, 'Come, both of you, willingly or loath.' They said, 'We come,' obedient." The first heaven became adorned with countless stars, not mere decorations scattered randomly across the cosmic canvas, but divine signs and guideposts for travelers on Earth. Each star was positioned with mathematical precision that would make the greatest human astronomers weep with wonder. Constellations formed their eternal patterns, telling stories that would guide desert caravans and ocean voyagers for millennia to come. The Quran reveals, "And we have adorned the nearest heaven with lamps, and we have made them missiles for the devils." These stars serve multiple purposes: beautification for those who contemplate the night sky, navigation aids for those who journey across land and sea, and protection against those jinn who might attempt to eavesdrop on divine communications. The second heaven received its appointed angels, vast beings of pure light, whose very existence is worship. Their forms are beyond human comprehension, some with wings that span distances greater than the space between east and west, others with faces of such beauty that they reflect the names and attributes of Allah Himself. Day and night, without rest or fatigue, they glorify their Lord. They do not disobey Allah in what He commands them, and do what they are commanded. Higher and higher, each heaven more magnificent than the last. In the third heaven, angels carry out the divine decrees related to death and life, recording the appointed times when every soul will return to its Creator. In the fourth heaven, angels govern the movements of celestial bodies, ensuring that sun and moon follow their ordained courses. In the fifth heaven, angels oversee the distribution of rizq, divine sustenance, to every living creature. The sixth heaven houses angels of such majesty that their very presence would overwhelm any creation permitted to witness them. They are the guardians of divine secrets, the bearers of revelations that would eventually descend to chosen prophets among humanity. And the seventh heaven, closest to the divine presence itself, where the Arsh of Allah stands in majesty that no created being can fully comprehend. Here the angel Jibril takes his true form, mighty and overwhelming, with 600 wings, each wing spanning the horizon. Here, the Sidrat al-Muntaha, the lote tree of the utmost boundary, marks the limit of where any creation may approach the divine presence. In the fifth period, Allah breathed life into His creation. The oceans, which had been still and silent, began to teem with creatures beyond counting. From microscopic organisms invisible to the naked eye, each one perfectly designed for its role in the aquatic ecosystem, to the mightiest whales, whose songs would echo through the deep waters for thousands of miles. Schools of fish moved like living silver through the blue depths, their scales catching filtered sunlight and sending it dancing in brilliant displays. Coral reefs grew like underwater gardens, their inhabitants living in perfect symbiosis, each creature dependent on others, all of them reflecting the divine principle of balance and cooperation.
The Quran declares, "And we made from water every living thing." Will they not then believe? This water, H2O, two atoms of hydrogen bonded to one of oxygen, would prove to be the most essential compound for biological existence. Every cell of every living creature would depend upon it. Every process of life would require it. In this simple molecule, Allah embedded the secret of life itself. On land, the first plants pushed through the soil, their roots seeking water, their leaves reaching toward the sun. Trees of every variety began their slow growth toward maturity. Date palms that would one day provide shade and nourishment in desert oases. olive trees whose oil would light the lamps of civilization, cedars and oaks that would provide timber for ships and homes. Flowers bloomed in impossible variety, roses whose fragrance would inspire poets, jasmine whose scent would perfume evening gardens, wildflowers scattered across meadows like jewels cast by a generous hand. Each bloom was designed not merely for beauty, but as part of an intricate system of pollination and reproduction that would ensure life's continuation. In the sixth period, Allah prepared the final stage for his greatest earthly creation yet to come, humanity. The earth was now ready, its atmosphere perfectly calibrated with the right mixture of gases, its weather patterns established to distribute water and warmth, its seasons arranged to provide variety and renewal. The stage was set for the grand drama of human existence, prophetic revelation, and divine guidance. Throughout this cosmic unfolding, the angels watched in awe and wonder. They had been created to worship and serve, and in witnessing Allah's creative majesty, their worship intensified beyond measure. Some angels wept tears of light at the beauty of what they witnessed. Others prostrated themselves in such profound submission that they would remain in that position until the day of judgment. As each phase of creation reached completion, the angels heard the divine declaration, "It is good." Not good in the sense of Allah learning or discovering, for he knew the outcome of his creation before he began it, but good in the sense of perfect execution of divine will, the manifestation of attributes like Al-Khaliq, the creator, Al-Badi, the originator, and Al-Hakim, the all-wise.
The archangel Jibril, who would one day carry revelations to the prophets, stood closest to the divine presence during this cosmic genesis. Through him flowed the commands that organized matter and energy into their appointed forms. Mikael took charge of the winds and rains, ensuring that the earth's water cycle would function perfectly for eons to come. Israfil prepared his mighty trumpet, which would one day signal the end of this cosmic drama, though that moment lay in the distant future. But even as creation reached its completion, the angels sensed that this was not the end, but the beginning. The earth, now perfectly prepared, awaited something special. The trees swayed in anticipation, the rivers flowed with expectancy, and the very atoms of existence seemed to hum with divine purpose. In the divine knowledge, the next chapter was already written. The creation of Adam, the first man, the first prophet, the one who would be given the sacred trust of Khilafah, stewardship over this magnificent creation. But that story, beloved listeners, awaits our next gathering. For now, as we conclude this first chapter of our journey through sacred history, let us reflect on the magnificent reality that surrounds us. Every breath we take draws in oxygen that was perfectly calibrated billions of years ago. Every drop of water we drink connects us to that primordial ocean from which all life emerged. Every star we see in the night sky was placed there by divine hands as a sign for those who reflect. The same Allah who commanded, "Be," and brought forth the universe from nothingness, continues to sustain every atom of existence at every moment. The same divine wisdom that orchestrated the cosmic symphony continues to guide the affairs of creation through his chosen messengers and revealed guidance. As we stand on this earth, under these skies, surrounded by this magnificent creation, we are witnessing the opening verses of the greatest story ever told. The story of divine mercy, human choice, prophetic guidance, and ultimate return to our Creator. And in our next episode, we shall witness the creation of those beings of light who would serve as messengers between the divine realm and the world of humanity, the noble angels, whose very existence is worship, whose every breath is glorification of the one who created them. Until then, let us remember that we are not cosmic accidents floating meaninglessly through space, but the deliberate creation of Al-Hakim, brought into existence within a perfectly ordered universe, endowed with reason and conscience, and destined for accountability before the one who created us all.